Dr. Kennett. I now ask Ms. Lisa Galina Alvarez, Director of Admissions for Graduate Programs and Adult Degree Retention, to present Alvin Mann of the class of 2016 for Mount St. Mary College's honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Alvin Mann, a 94-year-old World War II veteran and retired businessman, received his bachelor's degree in history from Mount St. Mary College in May of 2016. In the early 1940s, Mr. Mann joined the war effort as a merchant seaman. By 1946, when he left the service, he had worked his way up to second engineer. After his time in the armed forces, Mr. Mann opened a short-term staffing service in Manhattan called Temporary Office Services. He supplied clients with secretaries, typists, clerks, bookkeepers, and much more. He continued running the multi-million-dollar business for 25 years. Around 1970, he settled in Orange County. During the winter at his home in the state of Florida, Mr. Mann became involved with the Florida Guardian Ad Litem GAL program, a partnership that provided a voice to Florida's abused and neglected children. He continued his service with the organization for the next 15 years. After the passing of his wife in 2007, Mr. Mann decided to return to college. He had begun his college career in the late 70s in the state of Florida and finished his degree nearly 20 years later at Mount St. Mary College. A history major, his hands-on experience of the subject gave him a unique outlook on the coursework. Mr. Mann has 1 son, 2 daughters, and 5 grandchildren. He lives in Cuddybackville, New York. In recognition of his dedicated service to his country and commitment to lifelong learning, Mount St. Mary College proudly confers the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters upon Alvin Mann. I would now like to ask all military service members that are students and our guests today and veterans to stand and be recognized by Mount St. Mary College's community. Thank you for your service.
By the authority of the Board of Trustees of Mount St. Mary College, I am pleased to award to you, Alvin Mann, class of 16, the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and I request Mr. Charles Frank to confer upon you the testimonials of the degree.
It's a great honor for me to present honorary degree recipient, Mr. Alvin Mann, who will now speak.
Thank you. Actually, it took a lot of wind out of my sail. I think I face torpedoes much more readily than I am this group. But in any event, I do want to thank Mr. Frank. He's the chair and the member of the Board of Trustees, for the honor they're awarding me, and I'm still humbled and grateful for their distinction. I always planned to visit my alma mater, but this really makes me hold my head high. My thanks to my advisors, wonderful, knowledgeable instructors, especially my IT tutors, the finance office, and all the students who believed I really was an aging baby boomer. They mentioned originally that on the personal side, in 2007, I was left alone suddenly due to the loss of my wife of 45 years. A dynamic academic in the American art and art history field, where I was her assistant. How do you change your living habits from go to stop? I was able to continue at half speed, spending more time at the Y gym, reading, luckily having 2 adoring cats and a small dog, and a house that I was building for the both of us. But that really was enough for almost 2 years. And I continued at the gym, and finally I was introduced to a lovely woman. I must admit that I was awfully scared. What do you talk to about a stranger, especially a woman? But she made me feel at home, and a lunch date broke the ice. As dates went on, I learned she came to Middletown in the 1950s. For 30 years before that, she retired. She was in academic training. She was training nurses in biology and electron microscopy. That's a mouthful. And then she retired, but stayed on at that ARC as a trustee and a benefactor for scholarships. But not enough. All those years of teaching, and the wife of a noted cardiologist, she raised 4 children. She delved into politics in the middle of everything. From alderman, she served 2 terms as the mayor of Middletown. Her accomplishment was building a world-class library from an old train station, an art center from an unused church, a senior center where the retired could congregate given a hot meal and friendship, and the restoration of a 1930s movie house back to its original glory with plush seats and a Hammond organ, and it's still in use today. I won't go into other accomplishments, but believe me, there are many and still benefit society today. Now, for the best part, from acquaintances to friends to best friends, and after 8 years, on August 5th, I'm choking up, we'll be married in front of our 7 children, 10 grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce Her Honor, Gert Mokotov. Gert, would you please stand up? Take a bow. Off the cuff, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the greatest honors of my life. I really don't know how to express it in any other manner. I did graduate here last year. It was a thrill to me. I didn't start classes until the early 1980s. And there again, I stuck my toe in the water and I never pulled it out. I got my 60 credits for my associate, continued on at Florida Atlantic University to get a degree in social work with a minor in political science. But unfortunately, the event of October of 2007 put the kibosh on that. However, after I met Gert, we were talking and talking, and she convinced me that I could go back to school, which I did. I came to the Mount. They welcomed me with open arms with the graduate degree program for adults. And 2.5 years after that, I got my history BA, and that's the story of my life, and I love it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Mount St. Mary College community,